beer at night with the law enforcement officials, and they're very tight together. So if you're coming in there as an outsider, it's very difficult. It doesn't matter that it's within your right. It's just the way it is. So I for example, with coal mines, I must have approached by letter and telephone somewhere between 30 and 40, maybe even more, 50 different sites. And I just got lucky through a kind of personal appeal to get into one. So I expected to get no's, and very rarely did a no become a yes.
Well, don't feel bad. I have the FBI on me in DeBerry, Florida for standing in the street shooting their power plant. So I know how you feel.
Yeah.
My second question is with regard to Iowa 80. I haven't seen the book yet, but I have been through there. Did you happen to shoot any film of the C's and C's of the 18-wheelers there?
Well, this is the way it works. I had planned to try to do some exterior pictures that day at the Iowa 80 truck stop in Walcott. But it was the heaviest downpour rain you can imagine. And so I spent some time indoors because there was just no way with an 8x10 camera, even with a big golf umbrella, that I was going to make a picture outdoors. And that's what happens. I go with a certain intention, and then I survey what is within reach. What can I work with? What can I make something out of? And so even when I got turned away by security or law enforcement, I used it as an opportunity to make new discoveries and to look at the ways that I could draw from the visible world and find new experience, but find material that would resonate and that would speak to what I set out to do in the first place, but that would be filled with surprise. So it's, I never quite know what to expect. And I think if I did, I would really be working along very formulaic lines. And that's not what's interesting to me about photography. It's about being clear-sighted, but at the same time utterly malleable in so far as what it is that's happening in front of me, and to be able to allow the opportunity to incorporate chance, coincidence, things that just occur. In this picture here, I was fortunate because I got up on top of a grain elevator in the small town of Blairsburg. But beforehand, I had no idea that I was going to end up there, mid-afternoon when the school bus was bringing home the local kids from school, and there were a couple kids on the bike and a man standing in front of his door. The thing is that I don't talk a lot about it because it's what has to get experienced about my work. But with this project, because I'm working largely with a 4x5, and then I graduated to an 8x10 camera, I made very large prints. And so when you see the work as it's intended to be, as a photographic work on the wall, you step into them and read them and engage with them for all their detail. But here they become kind of representations of the work. And so that texture, that kind of layering, is very important to me, and in a way I think is the saving grace that makes it possible for me to make pictures that might have some political overtones, but that don't fall prey to a kind of one-dimensional political note, because I'm also trying to make pictures that are beautiful and that can be respectful to the places from which they're drawn, and can aspire to the mystery that they hold.
I read that you might expand this work on energy. Is that the case? And if so, how will you do that?
With my wife, Susan Bell, who collaborated with me as an editor on this project in a number of projects previous to this, through the discussion that went around the work over the years that it developed, we both came away feeling that if there was a way we could take this work at the end and to see it translated to a venue or venues that could encourage a kind of larger public conversation. So we have designed a series of billboards using the pictures, marrying them with short, pithy text by eminent American voices. It could be writers, scientists. And for that to happen in a way that will be different, distinctly different than some of the kind of environmental advertising that you see, which is very single note. That can, it's not that I have no plans to make further pictures per se on this project. I've done American Power, and the book to me it's a finished work as I've shown it in the exhibition context. It's a finished work, but I am provoked with Susan to see in the ways in which the work could be provocative and useful, to arouse greater knowledge about the issues, the themes that are at hand here, to the larger American public, especially in this period that lies ahead as we're defining a new energy policy. We're at this moment of new possibility and opportunity, but also we have to set, I think, a right example to the global community. And with the new global climate treaty coming up for ratification in the next year or two, this is an opportunity to in a critical way, to call attention to these things.
Other questions? Sorry, see you.
I was just curious if you had any insights on like the irony of using an 8x10 camera and people being worried about security threats when, if anyone was really going to do something, they could walk up with a everyday point and shoot and get any sort of information about a duct that they wanted. I don't know if you had any insight on that. I find that a big irony.
I could see how the 8x10, with the black cloth and all, it's a bit of it's a strange thing to witness. And it's true, though. I did often wonder, as I was questioned, where all this energy was going toward, and why weren't people in law enforcement better trained to be able to distinguish between a real threat and somebody who was doing something that was that they were allowed to do as an American citizen. But I think there was this kind of hysteria that was going on. I don't know if it would be a little bit different now. And I never resented the questioning. I felt like it was absolutely fine to be questioned, but it was just the way the questioning sort of led down a road that was never ending. I think maybe what's more ironic is that